Welcome to the first episode of Attacking the Paint. I'm your host, James Ivy Williams of Between the Lines Sports, and today I have with me Matt McKay Jr. of Proinsight. Matt and I discuss COVID-19, we talk grassroots basketball, and we also dive into our favorite players in the 2020 NBA Draft. I thank you guys for tuning in and watching. With no further ado, here's Matt and I.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What up, man? How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Great.
That's a hell of a background right there.
Yeah, I know. I did this the other day to be funny. Let me see if I can change it.
No, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I'd rather be. I'd rather be right here, right now.
Hey, that's even better. That's even better. That's even better. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Man, good. I feel like work-wise and just like content-wise, and we're trying to build is like speeding up faster
Yeah,
than ever.
right. I agree.
Not making any money, but I feel like I do feel very, very solid about, especially when like you get the little thing popping on your timeline, like 1 year ago today,
Right.
announcing Proinsight. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right. Right.
that's a good feeling to
Right.
know. We've been able to just build it very organically,
Right.
authentically, and just doing a little diagnosis the other day of like, okay, what are our follow what does the demographic of our followers look like on like Twitter?
Right.
I was like, damn, I didn't even get like a notification that like this agent or this NBA guy or this coach or whatever. So
Right.
it's just good to know. I think we're doing the right thing. So
That's good.
just trying to. It's just a tricky time, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Just trying to trust the process.
Indeed. 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 Well, good, man. Good.
How about you?
Very similar. I got the notification the other day about last year this time I was in Portland for Nike Hoop Summit a couple of days ago, and I just got sad, because I was in one sense very intimidated about what was about to happen because I've felt behind since the season started.
Right.
But on the other hand, I don't like missing things, So like I think I work so hard because I don't like missing things, because when I miss things, I feel like every time I miss something great happens, And so I want to be there for those great moments. And so even though it's not happening in theory, it just kind of sucks that it's not happening and I'm not there.
Yeah.
Because had plane tickets booked and hotels and everything, and it sucks. But on the other side, just happy to continue to be working. I'm loving what I'm doing. I tell people all the time, I've never been more fulfilled in what I'm doing in work, because I feel like it's a purpose. It's my purpose, and I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing. And so can't really complain about that. It's just basketball is, there's so many levels and lanes of basketball that people, everybody wants to hoop and everybody wants to coach or everything. And I mean, I feel like what we do is very vital and valuable to the culture of basketball. And it's one of those overlooked things, which I'm fine about, but it's just as important as other things, I think. So,
right.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. I mean, that's inspiring. I think we got to keep doing what we're doing and seeing what's going to kind of come of it.
Right. Exactly.
If we have the conviction that we're in the right spot, doing the right things, going about it methodically, authentically, genuinely,
right.
I think good things will manifest from that.
Right. I think I told somebody that last night. I was on the phone with a friend of mine last night, and she's a volleyball coach, but she keeps getting asked to like become like a trainer. And I finally told her, I said, you have a gift and you have a purpose. And I said, you were given that, for a reason. And I was like, if you let it go to waste, are you really adding the value that you're supposed to the world overall? And I was like, so you sometimes have to look at yourself and say, what was I made to do? And, we're not married just to be parents or husbands or, whatever the case may be. I think we were all made to do something bigger than just be, a this for one person or that for another person. We have a purpose that we have to fulfill based on ourselves. And all those other things are just kind of like icing on the cake, I think. And so I feel like if you're living in that purpose, all those other things are just like enhanced and manifest into something greater, because you're going to help those people then become what they're supposed to become and do what they're supposed to do too.
It's got a ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to do your part first.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to lean into it for sure.
Yep. Hard body. Yeah. So look, man, I just wanted, for me, I had a talk, me and Mike talked the other day, and I was just so happy to have a basketball conversation with somebody who knows basketball. And I was like, I'm just gonna start calling my friends and see if we could just, jump on and just
let's do it, man,
and just start talking some stuff. So first, tell everybody, anybody but me and you. So I'll probably post this or something, or you can too. Tell everybody about Proinsight and what you do exactly, and how'd you start?
Yeah, man. Are we posting this?
Yeah, we'll post it.
I'll take out the background then. Let me take out the little beach background.
I think it gives some ambiance. Like, it's wishful thinking. You put that out in the universe, it may come to you. You travel a lot though, so that'll happen for you anyways, I'm sure. You'll be at the beach.
Right, let's keep it. Let's keep it. I'll own it right now.
Yeah, you know what? And next time you have to show me how to do it so I can put one up too. How about that?
Live from the beach in St. Thomas.
Hey, sounds good.
Proinsight, man, just it's really started to take shape over time. It started as just a passion project since pivoting from the NBA. Still wanting to scratch that itch of being in the space, scouting, evaluating, being around, just a bunch of counterparts and colleagues, and at the heart of it, it's definitely just something I'm really passionate about, and it's been like just kind of a long time coming. I mean, having worked in the industry since very just kind of step by step, seamlessly from going from playing to then being a student manager and an intern and a front office person and a scout, and it's just kind of the next iteration on that journey. It's a grassroots focus. It's a website. The front facing part, in terms of like social media, and then the public part of the website is like, kind of a media event coverage, just kind of a few facets type of setup. We have a Q&A series that was heavily inspired by, the dozens and dozens of interviews that were, I was a part of conducting throughout the pre-draft process in Chicago every spring, while working in the league. And also, just from certain authors I've read and enjoyed and kind of gathered information from, and then some podcasts that I enjoy listening to, and just how questions are asked and the cadence and the order and things like that. So the goal with that being, again, with the focus, with an aberration here or there, we did one on Bryce Aiken to announce his transfer the other day, but most being high school age players.
Right.
The idea being to like help provide a platform for them, help build and shape their narrative at that age, because most of them were 16, 17, 18 years old.
Right.
To just kind of shine a light, illuminate them a little bit. Hopefully ask some questions they may not have already answered 50 times at, at AAU events and showcases and stuff like that.
Right.
And then again, just as me as a holistic evaluator, I just try to start that process earlier of like, okay, what's shaping their success on and off the court. So the Q&A series has been awesome. We've probably done, 3 dozen or so.
A bunch.
Yeah. We try to do, the goal is to release like one a week. It hasn't been that.
Yeah.
Because we've been doing it for about a year now, and I think we maybe just have a little less than 40, but focused on quality over quantity.
Always.
I wouldn't say every single guy we release is like a surefire NBA prospect, but that's kind of the general barometer.
Yeah.
Just because, for our audience right now, there's a lot of NBA people like, looking at our stuff and getting our emails and stuff like that. So I don't want to, the Q&A series isn't intended to like put a D2 prospect on an NBA GM's inbox. You know what I'm saying? But there's other avenues for that too, where I try to also make an impact for that caliber of player. So that's the front end. We do some little video breakdowns and stuff like that too, and and just like anybody else might do, just shedding some light on events as you're there.
Yeah.
And then on the back end for clients, kind of help us make it a sustainable product is our scouting database, and that was inspired by our collective experience. I've got a handful of people helping me out, kind of spread out all around the country, and we have someone in Italy, so all around the world. Almost all of us have experience in an MBA front office and working in databases every day. So we started out with just a big, crazy spreadsheet, and we're like, man, we gotta evolve. So we turned that into, we hired a developer and a designer, and we've been off and running, and we created this database just to be able to house all the information, just a hub, like the mothership of all the Proinsight information. So we try to gather as much pertinent, relevant, helpful information as possible. And then we service and kind of consult with different clients, whether that be the target clientele is like, high major programs, MBA teams looking to get a head start on information gathering. Same thing with overseas teams, since that's becoming more and more of an option. And anybody with a vested interest in these high level players. And again, just kind of sounded like a broken record, but I created something that I would have loved to use on a daily basis. Same thing with the Q&A series. Like if I'm a scout looking at, trying to learn more about Evan Mobley or Kate Cunningham or Paulo Banchero, because I'm going to be looking at maybe drafting them or acquiring them down the line, I created something that I would have enjoyed spending 6, 7, 8 minutes reading and digesting and maybe copying and pasting and putting in my database internally. And again, that's the idea with the database too, like just kind of trimming all the fat and providing information that is hopefully going to be pertinent and helpful.
Good.
So that's Proinsight.
See, I knew all that already, but this is, for everyone else who doesn't know Matt McKay Jr. So
no doubt.
So the interesting thing is you and I do something very similar. And I think I told you this one time. I'm sure I have, that you're the only person I know who has a similar outlook on what we do. So for me, it's been a joy just like knowing you, and we talk all the time, or enough, not all the time, but enough. And we see each other, when the season gets going quite often. And so for me, it's always it's nice to have someone to like bounce things off of, or if I share something with someone, I know that like they may get what I'm talking about, because this is in theory a very niche kind of job that we have. You can't share with everyone because everyone doesn't understand, exactly what we're doing. And, the NBA people are different, but that's still a small group of people in the grand scheme of things. And we encounter, people who are non-NBA people or non-basketball people on a regular basis. And, sometimes it's just, especially when I was growing up, it was difficult to tell people what I wanted to do. And this isn't necessarily it, but like the grand scheme of things of like working in the NBA, being in the front office, like where I grew up, people didn't understand that. Or even when I was getting my degree, they're like, well, what do you want to do with that? It's like, well, you want to be, the question I used to get all the time is, do you want to be a PE teacher?
Because, I got that too. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't want to be a PE teacher. And nothing's wrong with that, but it just wasn't my plan. And so like trying to explain to people, and then you can explain something thoroughly to someone, but if they can't like conceptualize it themselves, then it's just still foreign to them. And so for me, meeting someone who's relatively my age, who has had similar experiences to me, is like, dude, is like a lifesaver. I mean, honestly, because even like now, like, being by myself in the house and like digging into like my database and like watching film and taking notes, it's lonely, like it's kind of, you're really isolated. And then like, now we're quarantined. So like you don't see anybody ever. There are no games to go to and just talk a little basketball. So like I said, for me, it's always good to like talk to someone who understands what we do and why we're doing it, because, in theory, like, of course, there's a bigger purpose, but at the same time, it's what we want to do. And, we want to make money from it. But I think we both know that you have to be really good at this. Well, we want to be really good at this.
yeah. And I think we're both internally driven and put a lot of, just a lot of weight on the quality of our work, and
Right.
not just clickbait or whatever.
Correct. So tell me this. So how's life been since COVID-19 dropped in our lap about a month ago, and just kind of flipped everybody's lifestyles upside down?
It's crazy, man. I mean, a month and a few days ago, I'm losing track of time now, but a month, it seems like about a month and a few days. It seems like 6 months ago, but
Mm-hmm.
if I look at the calendar, I was just in Vegas with 15, 20,000 people in an arena
Yeah.
every day for like a week at these 3 or 4 conference tournaments.
Yeah.
And, and then obviously everything hit the fan with once NBA shut down, and I go from not even thinking about it really being in an arena to like, going, on the plane the next day, not wanting to like breathe.
Right.
And, and, and then really since then, I mean, I texted my guy, Christian Papula, who's
Mm-hmm.
who's a big time evaluator,
Yeah.
in Vegas. The last person I hung out with, and
Mm-hmm.
like we went to Starbucks and talked hoops and whatever, and just broke it down right before I went to the airport. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude, you're the last person I hung out with, since this happened. So yeah, that was over a month ago now, and
Right.
I've just been obviously taking social distancing very seriously.
Yeah.
We've been taking advantage of just like being able to do click lists for our groceries and stuff like that, and just different deliveries, and
Yeah.
getting outside a little bit just to get some fresh air and going on walks. But yeah, for me, that's the general dynamic for me, work wise. It's funny. Um, I've kind of joked a little bit, like, and just in general, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe anyway. Like I
I
wash
didn't.
my
I
hands
didn't.
a lot.
Didn't know that.
Not like just cognizant of touching
Yeah.
things, and like, pushing the door open in an area that someone else may not, just like little things like that. Anyway, a little bit of What About Bob,
Yeah.
that movie, in me. So with that, and then when I'm not traveling, I am oftentimes isolated, just working from home.
Right.
Really, ever since my last year at the Hornets,
Mm-hmm.
you're either traveling or you are isolated for the most
Right.
part, like on the
Right.
phone or on the computer, or just getting work done, writing reports. So
Mm-hmm.
that in itself hasn't been a crazy
Right.
topsy-turvy dynamic, just
Yeah.
because I already wash my hands a lot, and don't touch an excessive amount of things, and used to just kind of plugging away
Yeah.
in a dark room in front of a screen
Yeah.
writing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's funny. But so it hasn't been like I haven't been like a fish out of water.
Okay. Okay.
um and yeah, I mean, just trying to be as productive, trying to find that balance of being as productive and safe as
Gotcha.
possible as we like wait this out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
How about you? I mean,
Um, for me, I've been saying this a lot, but this has been like a blessing in disguise for me. Um, because so my 9 to 5, I work in a school. I'm the in school suspension coordinator at a middle school here. And I took the job so I can work on my basketball in theory in like peace and quiet, right?
yep.
So when I quit my last job, which was working in basketball apparel, I was a sales manager for a company here in Atlanta. I started subbing to just kind of supplement income until I got the business kind of going. And all the time I would go to schools and people would ask me, "Do you want a full-time job?" And I'd say no. It was pretty quick no, because I knew that it would take away from what I do, and so I knew that I didn't want to give anything else my attention, because what I was doing was so important to me that I didn't want to give up all the flexibility and time I had. And so
Right.
when I started at this school, it was ideal because in theory, you may have a couple of kids a day, and ideally they should be quiet the entire day. So I should be able to just sit on my computer and watch video or type reports or whatever I want to do. And for the most part, that happens. But there are days when you're moving with other things going on. And so, but over the course of a year, between being in the school and traveling, um, I felt like I was behind as far as not necessarily attending events or getting notes and reports on people, but more so maybe inputting them into my database.
Yeah.
And so I've been begging for like time to not have to do anything, not have to go anywhere. not have to pick anybody up, not have to run an errand, just be still. And so for me, when this first happened, the first maybe 12 days, I was in front of this computer like hard, just, I mean, it was crazy because I had 24 events that I needed to like completely upload into the database. And so I had notes on all these kids. Literally it was like 450 players that I had.
Yeah, that's hours and hours of work.
Exactly. And trying to do it here and there just wasn't beneficial. And so for me, it was just like, when it happened, I just sat down. 6-8 hours a day at my desk and just worked. And when I finished the first part, which is getting them in, I was like, wow, that's what I've been waiting on. It was just this moment to just kind of just do nothing else but this. And it was just so gratifying to finish it. And so now I take the time to work now, because now that I've got that big piece of it out of the way, now I just take the time to, I'm still on the computer, 6 hours a day, but it's not this thing that I have to like just do anymore, because I've got the bigger piece out of the way. Yep. And so now it's almost like, okay, this is what working from home should be like, and at some point that's what I want to do anyways, is just kind of get home and do it with no other distractions, and completely commit to it 100%. So I feel like I'll be my best self, and the work that I'll produce will be worth it. So it's been fun for me. Same thing. I get out, fresh air. I'll go to the grocery store to pick up we're doing the same thing, ordering groceries and having them delivered to the back of the car, kind of thing.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Still try to do stuff. Like I had to go to Walmart yesterday because I finally got a new phone. My old phone literally died yesterday, just died. And so I had to go buy a new phone from the AT&T store and then go get a case because I didn't want to spend $100 at AT&T on a new case. So I was out and about, but still trying to practice good social distancing practices, that kind of stuff. So, but for me, this is an ideal situation without if people weren't being negatively affected, it would be better. But just in my bubble. As long as we're healthy and we're doing what we need to do, I'm okay with where we are right now, and just kind of rock out. Just work and grind and
no doubt.
Watch as much basketball as absolutely possible. And this is ideal in a sense for me. Yeah.
No, in a vacuum it is. I agree. For guys like us with what we're doing, and it'd be great. I mean, you can't replicate just being at the events that would be going on right now. Yeah. But just looking at it and being real.
Yeah.
There's always video you can catch up on. And you can always glean stuff from it. So no matter what anybody wants to say, when this went down, nobody was already all caught up on video. So right. There's plenty of room to, sit back and watch some games and clear off that DVR and
yes.
Yeah. So no, it's definitely in a very specific way, and I know exactly you know exactly what I'm saying. It's a blessing in disguise, just because when else is life gonna
slow down,
come to a screeching halt and just give you time, just literally hours and hours of potentially and again, thankfully for us, we're not in a situation where again, me being a germaphobe, I don't know if I could have a job right now where I'd have to be out and on the front lines.
Right.
God bless those people, man. That's crazy.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think it is a time for us to both, not take a step backward, but actually move forward and move the needle a little bit with our businesses, just because we can still add value to our clients and not just with the product while this is going on.
Yeah, for sure. So I wrote so I know everything with us is primarily grassroots on both of our fronts, but we do hit the draft a little bit. Tell me. So NBA draft stuff. So who are your two favorite players at the top of the draft? the back of the draft, and then maybe 2 of your favorite international guys in the draft.
Let me pull up the list. Let me pull up a little list here.
I'm sorry. I should have told you that I was going to be interviewing you pretty much.
No. This is fine, man. This is fine. So yeah, no, just a little bit of context.
Yeah.
I think if nothing else, just for like a change of pace.
Yeah.
I guess I'll share a little bit of the reasoning and why Proinsight is a grassroots focused deal. I mean, it just because when I was in the NBA, and it's even changed in the last couple of years, it was almost like a forbidden fruit. You know what I mean? You can't. I mean, other than like a handful of events, we weren't able to evaluate high school players in person.
Yeah.
So I kind of had this epiphany, like, man, I just want to dive head in, head first and start to immerse myself in it. So that said, I try to keep a healthy pulse on the college game and obviously the NBA game, and get to game both in person and keep my barometer, on point.
Right.
But I mean, it's funny. It's somewhat actually a little bit liberating. I don't know this draft inside and out. I've seen almost all of these players.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of them that, I mean, while I was still in the NBA, evaluating, but like, I'm not going to do a big board this year. And that's the first one since, I don't know, 2012 or something like that I haven't done one.
Wow.
But, I'm more focused on like getting my projection ranges down pat for my 2021, 2022,
the kids we've been watching. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I just pulled up like a mock guys I like a lot. Man, I like Big O. I like Onyeka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think there's some clear resemblance. I think it's, I don't know if the word's fair, but I think it's, somewhat appropriate to compare him to like a Bam. I loved Bam coming out. I love Bam more than I like Onyeka, coming out at the same point.
Yeah.
But I do think they could be in similar buckets at the end of the day.
Okay.
I got to see Onyeka live this year.
Okay.
And I just like the way he impacts the game without having to be a high usage guy. I can only imagine. I don't think he'll ever be a super high usage guy, but I just think he'll always be efficient.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. He's one of those guys that
he's a good modern big and just moves really well. I just think he's going to be a super versatile defender, effective finisher. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that he'll never get a play ran for him, but he'll impact the game, but rebounding, blocking shots, running the floor, offensive rebounds, those kind of things. And like you say, he'll be efficient. He'll shoot 60% from the floor because most of the shots are going to be within 5 feet, and so and he's big and strong and athletic and typically, and he's a quick jumper too. I've noticed that about him. He gets off, like that second jump is just like a quick burst that he's up already before someone can kind of, like react to him almost. And so that's huge.
He has a fantastic just foundation combination of length, athleticism, and motor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like pretty good hands too. So just with that as the foundation, because you see so many guys where like only one of those 3 boxes or 2 of those 3 boxes are checked.
Yeah.
But to have the physical tools and the motor, that's that's valuable.
Yeah, it is.
You want 2 guys at the top?
Yeah.
Another guy I saw, it's funny, like again, it's all relative. I'm just used to seeing all these guys like 5+ times live in their draft year and watching like 10 more games of film, but yeah, compared to like the average Joe probably, interested in the draft, I guess I have. So that's another guy I like a lot toward the top. At least he's toward the top for me is Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, from Iowa State, right?
Yeah, so I got to see him. I got to see him live this year too.
Okay.
And then several games on film over his tenure at Iowa State.
Gotcha.
I just like I mean, there's a lot of things I like, but one thing I like, especially in point guards, is guys that take care of the ball. And he just carves up the defense.
Yeah.
He still needs to get better getting past the first line of defense and making positive plays, but he is a low mistake player with pretty good size, who's pretty light on his feet. I think he still needs to get stronger, but he makes such good decisions, really good touch as a passer, really gets his teammates involved, active on D, a little bit of an unorthodox shooting mechanics, but I mean, he gets enough to go in, and I think he seems like the type of kid that's going to be able to make strides in that department.
Yeah.
I just think he's really, really effective as like a floor general, and
Gotcha.
I would imagine he comes in probably spelling someone else's minutes from the get go.
Yeah.
But I hope with so many players, it's extremely contextual for their success. But I hope he lands in a situation where he can come in and learn kind of the right way to do things and get some good reps. And then I definitely think he has starter capability.
Gotcha.
Which if you're going to be drafted in the lottery, that's kind of what you're hoping for.
Exactly.
At a minimum. So
yeah.
Have you seen him?
I have not seen him. Only some highlights of it. But I haven't seen a game, and that's my fault because I haven't actually tried to watch a game, but I haven't seen him live either. So you just give me some information on him that I didn't know.
I think he's a pretty functional athlete. He's not. There's just a lot of different types of athleticism. You know what I mean? He's not a freak, but he's very functional.
Yeah,
kind of all around.
Right, which is half the battle. I mean, the elite guys are just that, and some of and everyone else kind of falls. There's that middle tier that are just kind of athletic enough, to kind of like make an impact and kind of keep up with more of those elite guys. And so, I mean, that's all you really want, especially when there's so many other attributes that you mentioned.
Right.
I think just having some athleticism is huge, and it just benefits you because it just kind of it'll elevate you a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, the guys who are really good know how to do a little bit of everything. There's no one-dimensional guys that are like elite guys. They have all these other skill sets that magnify when they're on the court because I can dribble, I can pass, I can shoot. All those basic things of being multidimensional. And then being crafty with the ball, get into the lane, all those other things too. So I think those things are huge for guys that are going to have impacts.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, I agree. So I think he has some translatable traits for sure, man.
Gotcha.
You want Euros?
Yeah. Give me two. Give me 2 Euros. What are you thinking?
I'm also fortunate to have seen both of these guys. I'm just looking at this kind of list of a bunch of players, potential draftees. Saw both of them during the same event. I'm not sure if you were there. Basketball Without Borders in LA a couple years ago.
I wasn't there. No, I wasn't there.
But you've been to that. You've been to the All-Star man. Yeah, it's a great evaluation opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked away super impressed by both.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't necessarily. So the two guys, Killian Hayes, but it's a chance to go pretty darn high.
Yeah.
And Leandro Balmaro.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it.
Close enough. I know you're talking about that.
Yeah. I didn't see Leandro as like a surefire NBA guy just because his game is definitely unorthodox.
Yeah.
But yeah, both those guys really stood out to me back then.
Gotcha.
I thought Killian played kind of an American style, comparatively speaking to most European players. Being in France. Kind of an American style game as a combo.
Gotcha.
Lots of upside, especially positional size-wise as a point guard.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. I can't speak to his growth.
Right.
I've seen just little bits and pieces since then, but I know he's definitely gotten better. He has good size, has good physical tools. Needs to make strides as a shooter, but again, didn't see anything that looked unfixable when I saw him up close. And then Leandro, just a really interesting player. High IQ, knows how to play. It might not look the prettiest or smoothest all the time, but he gets to his spots. Just kind of a funky player, but reminded me of, again, like this is 2 or 3 days, 2 years ago. Haven't seen really anything since, but almost gave me like some like Ginobili. It's a little bit. Okay. It's a little bit of a lazy comparison, I guess, being from Argentina. But just you could tell he was probably somewhat inspired by mine.
Right. Which is, I think that's fair. I really do. I mean, I haven't seen him, but I mean, when you grow up where you grow up, and this is the biggest basketball player in your from your area, most of the kids probably have a little of that in them. So that's not. Yeah.
He just had a little bit of flair. You know what I mean? And a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And a really not aesthetically pleasing shot, but it went in. Like he was one of the best shooters in the gym at that event.
That's all that
And
matters.
he's a big guard. He's got
Yeah.
really, really good positional size. So the main thing I questioned then, and maybe he's made strides since, is just his, how athletic, how like functionally athletic he's going to be. He's not super dynamic. So just, how is he gonna fare on the defensive end, guarding on the perimeter, things like that. But again, that'd be something I'd want to, catch up on film with anyway. But
sure.
Yeah, so those are my 2 Euros.
Gotcha. And I haven't seen Leandro either, so that's I actually was looking at his name on a couple of the draft boards. So again, I'm happy that you have, so you can kind of give me some insight.
Some pro insight. Right.
Yeah. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want end of the draft?
Yeah, like guys in the back of the draft who may not be drafted. And I'll say this too, like me and you both, like we're both grassroots heavy, and so like it's I haven't watched any of these guys a lot, any of the guys that I have listed either. So it's cool. So
no, I mean I think it's fun to still talk about.
Yeah.
Let me see. I mean, you could probably bring up a lot of guys, but 2 that, and I'm just looking at a kind of an arbitrary mock draft just to kind of look at a pool of players. But 2 guys that I've seen a lot that I think probably have pretty wide draft ranges. I mean, these days I feel like people take swing. I mean, I guess they always have, but I feel like this is going to be a draft for sure where if you got a guy, it's going to be your guy. So I think both of these guys' ranges, if you pulled every team that was doing a top 100, like I could see the extremes being 30 to 80 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they're probably on most people's, but I could see them. I just in my own sample size of 2 teams, you've got guys with like 40, 50 spot differential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of time it's just because maybe someone's only seen them once and didn't, get a great feel. But all that to say, 2 guys I think have a chance to stick regardless of where they're drafted. I would imagine it's the second round. Peyton Pritchard.
Oregon, right?
Yep. Point guard from Oregon. I mean, all the guy's done is win in his life. Won 4 state championships in high school.
Jesus.
Was the lead guard as a freshman on a Final Four team at Oregon, and they just had a lot of success, as a team overall. I don't know where he ranks. He's got to be way up there in terms of all-time wins. For the program.
Right.
And he got a few cut short probably with how the season wound up, but the first time I ever saw Peyton he was a scrimmage player at the Hoop Summit. They put a team of ringers together, and the team has gotten real. Now it's almost become like there could be a 30 for 30 on the Portland Generals, which is like this team that Reggie Walker puts together.
Right.
Kind of the guy behind the scenes pulling some strings at Hoop Summit. And he puts this team together to scrimmage Team USA the day before. I think it's the day before the game.
Right.
So it's this thing. I mean, it winds up being on a Thursday night every year, ever since they moved it to a Thursday or the game to a Friday. And there's 100-something NBA people in the room, and it's this ragtag team. It usually winds up being like a couple current college players, some top high school players, and then whoever to fill in.
Right.
But again, like I've been going, I don't know, 6 or 7 or whatever Hoop Summits, and it's got, or 7 or 8, whatever it is now. It's gotten better every single year. Last year, I think they had Jaden McDaniels, Paulo Banchero, Dacian Nix. Trace Nickle in the past. Anyways, I first saw Peyton Pritchard as a member of the Portland Generals.
Okay.
As like a high school, I don't know, he was a sophomore or junior.
Okay.
And the guy had stretches where he was the best player. For
really?
like for like little stretches.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Like
still.
Came down and like just super heady, plays with a ton of moxie, can really, really shoot it with a ton of confidence, with range. And it's a really cool narrative. I mean, then by his senior year, he made the Hoop Summit team.
That's cool.
So he was on Team USA.
That's cool.
And then from there, he's just gonna have a lot of success at Oregon, and I think he's not the most athletic. He's not the fastest guy end to end, but he has really good body control. Plays with a ton of confidence, like I said.
Yeah.
Can really shoot it. You look at guys like a guy like T.J. McConnell. Both, I think, comparatively, both very, very, very tough. I think Peyton's a better shooter.
Okay.
I think TJ probably has him in a couple, probably a couple areas, obviously. But I think if a guy like that can carve out a role, I don't think it's outlandish to think that Peyton could also.
Right.
But another one back to the Portland Generals. That's where Kevin Porter had his kind of breakout performance.
Really? I didn't know that.
He was the best player on the court as the scrimmage player against Team USA. And
Gotcha.
I mean, I guarantee you that was still in GMs and executives' minds, on draft night.
Yeah.
The following year. Anyways, my other guy is another Northwest tie. Killian Tilly. I think I'll keep my spiel on him shorter, but like quite simply, it's an if, but if he can stay healthy, I just think he's going to be a 10-year pro.
Yeah.
His IQ is so high. He has incredible touch.
Yeah.
He just knows how to play. He's always in the right place at the right time. As a spacer on both ends of the floor. He's battled a ton of injuries. I don't know if any of them are, like career threatening. I haven't seen a medical report, but more necessarily super. I feel like it's kind of been random a little bit too.
Gotcha.
Like it's not like repeated, crazy knee reconstructive surgeries or anything like that. I mean, I know he's had some knee stuff, but it's kind of been all over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. One, it might scare some teams off and, they might think he's just super injury prone, but man, if he gets in the right system where he can, maximize what his body's able to do and stay healthy, he's a guy I'll take on my team healthy any day of the week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
Gotcha. That's the thing. I think sometimes, like your career trajectory is I would say over 50% impactful based on your situation and where you end up. And so that's a huge point. So like you said, if he ends up in the right situation, the ability to kind of have a increased longevity is just, it magnifies like by tenfold, and so that's the thing. Sometimes you wonder why like agents like try to steer their guys one place or the other, because you worry about like if you get in the wrong situation and the organization isn't well run or the coaching staff isn't stable, your guy could be out of the league, quickly. And so that's huge. I think a lot of people don't understand that, and a lot of guys have been called busts or bums for some reason, and it's the superstars are superstars. Everyone else, it's all based on situation. In my opinion, at least, it's just.
No, I feel the same exact way.
Yeah. So I mean,
and it's a fine line. It's a fine line between being a 7th or 8th man in a rotation and being in Europe.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and again, most people don't understand that all these. There's so many guys that could play in the NBA. It's just a limited number of spots, and so these guys who are literally in for one reason or another. And it's the situation. And the guys who latch on to teams every year, they know what they're supposed to be doing. And then other guys who maybe are wondering why they're not in the league. And it's those little things, like those little details, like you said, he's always in the right spot on offense and defense. That's something the coach doesn't have to worry about. Like if I'm a coach and I know this guy's just going to be in the right spot to not be in the way of whoever my guy is or whoever our guys are, and I can rely on him to do what I ask him to do, whatever that is, that's just half the battle. It's not – everyone's not going to score 20 points a game and get 10 rebounds and not play 20 plus minutes a game. Sometimes you're sparing minutes and just stay out of the way almost,
Yeah.
And, just stay out of the way and do what I asked you to do. And you could be in the league 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No so it's interesting.
A lot of egos involved too, which
yes.
is, can't really be understated enough.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I'll give you mine real quick. So again, what I typically, so when I started the scouting service, I actually started, I focused on the G League first. And so for me, it was, I started in reverse. So I did G League, then I did college, and then I got to high school.
Okay.
And so I always kind of focus more so on the back of the draft than the front of the draft.
Yeah.
But this year there are a couple of guys that I've seen just a bunch because I'm in Atlanta, and there are a couple of Atlanta kids that are at the top of the draft. So these are you probably know who I'm about to say, but these are very easy. Anthony Edwards and Isaac Okoro are probably my two favorite guys at the top of the draft. I've seen both of them probably a dozen times easily, and got to see them both a bunch. Not a bunch, probably about 4 times each this season in college. Yeah.
That's more than some teams probably saw.
Right, and so Anthony, for obvious reasons, I think he probably has probably like, I don't want to say this because I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but he's probably got superstar potential, probably more than anyone else in this draft. Him and LaMelo probably have that quality where they can just kind of be a face of a franchise, I think. And when you see him up close, he's so freaking big. Like, some guys are given inches. He's maybe 6'3", but they say he's 6'5". He's really 6'5". His hands are like I shook his hand earlier this year and I was like, Jesus, and then there's these physical tools that he has that are just, you really can't ask for anything else. I mean, he's 6'5", he's athletic, he can handle it well. He can score all 3 levels. All the typical stuff people say about him. But what I like most, he's a really good kid. Like, just being able to talk to him, he's a really good kid. And I think a lot of people may misjudge him based on what they hear. But I just think I root for the kid because he's, obviously he's from here too. But I just like the way I like him personally. I think he's a good kid, and he can fucking hoop. So
I'm gonna shoot you with some follow-ups.
Okay.
How does Anthony Edwards fail?
I think situation.
Failing meaning, I mean, I'm assuming you have number 1 on the draft board, on your draft board.
I based on who's picking.
Okay.
So
okay. But number 1 worthy, number 1 pick worthy, right?
Yes, for sure.
So I think that with that comes just a completely separate, it's just a different deal when you're a number 1 pick. So if you're not, so I would say fail, which is a harsh word, but if he's not a perennial all-star as a number 1 pick,
right?
What's going to have to happen if he's not a perennial all-star?
I think first his situation, which we just talked about. I think if he gets in the right situation, and a lot of times I feel like a lot of these kids are forced into like leadership roles. Like I don't want a 19-year-old kid to be my leader on my team. Could he be the leading scorer? Yeah. Could he be the most important player? Yeah. But is he a leader? And I don't think any of these kids are ready to do that. That's the first thing. So I think maybe making sure that he's in the right situation where he can just go play. I think limiting expectations early, I think is huge. I mean, the media is going to do what the media is going to do, but I think like if internally you kind of build something around him where you're like, look, this is what we want you to do. We lay out what we want you to do. I think he could become successful. I think if he's asked to go do what Trey did or what Luka did, which are anomalies in theory, like that's not normal for a rookie to be an all-star in the second year and start, that's not typical. Right. So more likely, like if you don't ask so much of him right away, I think he's successful. But I feel like if you do and he doesn't do it immediately, maybe confidence gets shot. Maybe he starts second guessing what his abilities are. Maybe he tries to play outside of what his capabilities are. And then you can have that down trajectory really quick. So I think it's all based on having a structure around him to let him be himself and not worry about what anyone else says other than the people who matter, which are the people on your team. And making sure that even giving him, the thing is a lot of these kids need the positive reinforcements and the positive triggers. So making sure that, okay, we lost, more likely he's going to be on a bad team unless the Warriors get the pick, right? But he'll probably be on a bad team. So then you're trying to hit him with like positive reinforcements, like, well, you did this well today. You did this well today. And then working on those things to just kind of build him up almost, because once the confidence gets there, you and I both know this. When guys are confident, everything else kind of almost takes care of itself. But we've also seen guys lose their confidence who are really good and they never kind of pan out to who they're probably supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more for him.
Okay.
Do you worry at all about his feel for the game?
Yes and no. I think that what I think is that I don't think he's played important basketball. Like he wasn't a winning team in college, obviously, and he wasn't on a winning team in high school in the grand scheme of things. Like at least his senior season, they lost a lot of games, but they played a national schedule. He was the only player really on that team that probably deserved to be on a national schedule. So they lost a lot of games that they, so in theory you wonder, like, is the mentality there to win,
Yeah.
And I hope I'm asking your question correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that would be the thing that I would worry about more so, is that, like, has he played important games? Because there's certain guys. The other guy I have on my list, I'll say, but he's played a lot. He's played on winning teams and winning programs, and I feel like
basketball and some USA stuff, right?
Right, exactly. So I think that matters when you're around, when you've been engulfed in like a culture, and even if you're not the primary person on the team, just being around winning, I think exudes the desire to win, and the desire to like compete at a high level all the time. And so I feel like Ant may not always have that, and it's nothing against him. No. It's just that one of those things that, like, you probably have to learn how to do it, because everyone doesn't come from a winning program. It's not realistic, because somebody's got to lose. So
some of it's out of your control for sure. No, correct. I mean, I'm just thinking from the perspective of those are the questions I'm asking and trying to get good answers to if I'm a team.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are the things that those are the things I would worry about, is just not being around a winning culture on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And then having to probably, if you're not drafted by the Warriors, probably more likely than not, you're going to be on a team that is going to struggle to start. And so then not getting a mindset that it's okay to lose, so right. That's probably what.
He's definitely been coached.
Yeah.
This past year.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a positive.
Yeah. I actually just quick, when I went to practice once this year, went a couple of times, but one time in particular, it was early when practice first started, and Tom was just on his ass, and like, it was like, but he took it, the thing is, he took it. He didn't roll his eyes. He didn't look away. He was very intent about getting coached. And even I spoke to him after practice, and he said he liked it. And so for me, hearing him say that he liked being coached by someone like Tom Crean, who we all know he's a tough coach.
He means business. Yeah,
he does. And so being coached by someone like that, I think, helps tremendously, because when you get to the league, maybe you're going to get a young coach or somebody who's going to demand something from you, and you have to be able to take it and then go do it on the court. So I think that would be a help for sure moving forward.
All right, your next guy.
All right, so let's see. I'll go back of the draft first. So back of the draft, I have Kevon. Oh, I'm sorry. No, next top of the draft, Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
Isaac Okoro. Also seen him a bunch. Seen him in high school. Seen him at AAU. So this is the thing. Isaac's at the top of the draft, but I'm not sure if Isaac should be at the top of the draft. I love him, but from the beginning of the season, I saw Isaac middle of the first round to early 20s in the first round. I didn't see him as a top. I didn't see him as a lottery pick. Not saying that
he's getting talked about in the top 3.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but again, I'm fine with that. If you want to draft Isaac at 3 to 5, he's a good player. But I think what you expect out of somebody from 3 to 5 is different than probably what Isaac is going to bring right away. Isaac, for me, watching him again a dozen times easily over the past 2 years, 3 years, he's never been the best player on his team. Mm-hmm. He played, high school basketball with Sharif Cooper, who's going to Auburn next year, who, did a gauntlet of winning every major award in high school last year. Every big event he won MVP. He's player of the year in Georgia as a junior. So, and he's on that team, and then he's on that team just included 3 other high level Division I basketball players. And so Isaac kind of fit in. And then you transfer over to AAU, He's on the same team with Sharif again. He's on the team with BJ Boston.
Some alphas.
Some alphas. And again, he just kind of fits in, right? He just kind of fits in. Then we see him at USA Basketball at Hoop Summit, and he just kind of fits in. So he kind of has this. I think this year at Auburn was probably the first time he's been the best player on his team. And I don't think that he knew that when it started. I don't think he knew that he was the best player. The coaches knew that he was probably one of the best players, but I don't think Isaac kind of.
Which part of me kind of likes that.
Yes, I agree. I think so. In the NBA, the cool thing about him is Isaac's probably programmed to play a role like right away. Like just I'll go defend, I'll go rebound, I'll run the floor. All the little things that I think a team needs to win and be successful. I think Isaac just has that like now. I think he's ready to play defense in the NBA right now. I think he's going to impact the game in transition and, obviously, on ball and the off ball defense. I think those things are just like, he's NBA ready immediately. Physically, he's an Adonis, like he's one of those guys his body is just freakishly chiseled, at 18. It's, It's almost weird, when you think about a kid and he's been that way since I can remember, really. Like I've never seen him not just jacked and not in a overly Karl Malone buff kind of way, but just just super for a 17, 18-year-old kid. It was crazy to think about that. And
okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got two questions.
Okay.
Is he already physically maxed out?
Probably. I think so. I mean, when you look at him, I can't imagine a lot of improvement. I think the one thing I think he has that will improve. I think he's more athletic than he lets on. I don't think he plays as athletic as he is.
Right. So just making that translate from the weight room or the turf.
Yeah.
Onto the basketball court. And then can he become, maybe not next year, but end of the day, can he become at least a league average shooter from deep?
I think so. I think the interesting thing with him is I think, and this is most people, as long as the mechanics are in decent shape, I think when you get in an NBA program, so to speak, you're a professional. So like I think you're going to get more reps, you're going to get more shots up, and eventually the shot will improve. I mean, we've seen it too many times to count. I mean, Jason Kidd ended his career as the second, leader in 3-point makes, and you know what they called him when he first came in the league? Asen.
Yeah.
No J. So
yeah.
I think if guys like that can just over the course of time improve their jump shot, I think he definitely can. And then I think if he does, then he could be like an elite 3-and-D guy. Like at least at minimum, I think he can become an elite 3-and-D guy. And if he develops anything else, if he develops the ability to kind of create off the dribble a little bit, and even the mentality to say I want to be more than just a role player, I think he's got a really high ceiling. And
he probably already has a pretty high floor.
Exactly. I think he comes in at his high floor, just being able to defend and run the floor and all those other things. Well, I think that's NBA stuff. Like immediately, I compare him to like in theory, I think I can see him in like a Josh Okogie role, but bigger, stronger, and faster kind of guy. Because Josh, same thing. He defends the wing well. He runs the floor. Nothing's called for him, and he makes an impact. So with Isaac being bigger and stronger, I think that he's only better because of those other the physical attributes that he has naturally.
That's an interesting comparison.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so that's what I got for those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so my back of the draft guys, which is probably my bread and butter in particular.
All right.
I've got Grant Riller from College of Charleston.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. He might not wind up back of the draft at this point.
Yeah. He's slowly starting to creep up. I've seen some boards where he's getting into the 30s.
Yeah.
And the thing that I don't like about the draft, unfortunately, is that the guys that aren't basketball prodigies at 17 are kind of immediately relegated to the back of the line. Guys who have had crazy impressive college careers and are still, they're 22, 23 at most. So, this guy still has a ton of basketball left in him. And so anyways, like that's just kind of like my little rant, but like
Side note.
Yeah.
I just saw a stat.
Uh-huh.
I think it was out of the last 10 drafts. I think it was 9 were seniors. So 9 out of the last 140 lottery picks
Seniors
are presumably 22 or older, which is just to kind of piggyback on your point.
Yeah,
I'll let you keep going.
I saw that same stat, and I think I went on a rant with one of my buddies, my intern, my guy who helps me out, and I was just so it when you hear that number, it's staggering to think, because how many of those guys then who were drafted late have had impacts, and there's so many guys that we can go down a list of guys that go to college 3 or 4 years and then they have really successful. I mean, case in point, last year's finals, Fred VanVleet, undrafted, out of Wichita State.
Yeah.
And he's a freaking stud,
Yeah.
he just is. And that guy should have been drafted. If you go back and redo drafts, where is Fred drafted in his class then? Obviously, based on the impact he's had in the NBA, what does he look like now? Is he a late first rounder at least?
Well, at least, yeah. I mean, at least he's probably mid first. Yeah.
Right. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's all. But for Grant, I like Grant. Grant for me is flat out score. I think the issue that he will probably have is probably adjusting to like NBA size and length to start. But it's one of those things like when, once you get like, it's like a kid you see who hasn't, like you see a European kid come over to the States and play a high school event or a college event, and then he's not used to the physicality or whatever he's not used to the court or the speed or whatever the case. I feel like once they kind of get it, they're fine after that. They just kind of, once you make the adjustment of what it is, they become fine, and their game just kind of goes back to normal. I think Grant will probably have an adjustment period where he has to adjust to the size and length and speed of the guys in the NBA because he hasn't played against that level on a regular basis. But I think once he does, his game kind of becomes the same. I think he can create off the dribble. I think he's a better passer than a lot of people think that he is. So I know people wonder if he's a true point guard, but I mean, who's a true point guard anymore? I mean, so
Tyrese Halliburton.
Facts.
No, no. I mean, do you think he'll be able to, again, like once he gets past that learning curve, do you have much hesitation in thinking he'll be able to create the necessary space he needs to be able to create?
I don't. I think it's one of those things. I equate it to like like you see a small point guard, right? I equate it to a small point guard, and people always wonder like, well, can he do it at the next level? But you've had a guy who's kind of like just kind of been this guy his entire life, and everybody's kind of always been bigger than him, So like in actuality, he's probably more prepared for it than the people who are questioning it think, because that's all he's ever known is.
That's always been his mindset.
That's always been his mindset. So people are always going to be bigger than me. They're always going to be longer. They're always be. So all these things are kind of like, it's always been this way. So in theory, I feel like once the adjustment happens to the NBA level, I think his game just kind of like falls into place with how he's always played almost,
Yep.
And so that's just kind of where I am. I think he's a scorer. I think he probably be more of a microwave kind of guy, someone who just kind of comes in, can kind of spell a point guard and try to go get buckets. But I also think, like I said, I think he's a good enough passer. I wouldn't say he's great by any stretch, but I think he's a good enough passer to just kind of, make the proper reads. I don't think he's a guy that kind of sees guys open kind of guy, but I think he's a guy that if I draw two in the lane, I know to drop the ball off to my big or kick the ball out to the wing kind of stuff. Like basic basketball stuff, And I think that could make him be successful in the league, I think so.
It's funny, that program is low key, just kind of churned out a few, like pretty good players over the years.
It really has, and it's one of those things like this for the high school kids in theory, like who always want to go to their top schools. Sometimes I think like find a program that maybe produces pros. Whether it's on the radar of TV and media. Everybody wants to be on TV. I get it, but like I tweeted this the other day. Do you want to be famous or do you want to be rich? You know, and you know, you can go to Kentucky and be famous at Kentucky or any of those other big schools, or do you want to be like, I want somebody that's going to prepare me for the next level of being a professional basketball player, whether it's in the NBA or not. Like, do you want to the thing is this, again, it kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of, you know, like, what's your skill set? What are you supposed to do? And if you're supposed to be a professional basketball player, it's just that, let's be a professional basketball player, wherever that is. But you want to make as much money as you possibly can. And sometimes it's just like, am I on NBA radars? Probably not. But do I think I could be a pro? Yeah. So who produces pros at a decent clip where I can go probably play and make an impact and maybe get into the tournament and scare somebody or beat somebody. And then maybe you jump on someone's radar and you're now on a board, like Grant in particular. You know, now he's on draft boards kind of thing. So I think that's huge. I think kids who think like that typically are more successful than the guys who just want to go to the blue bloods or the Power 6, the Power 5 conferences kind of stuff. So
no, it needs to be a methodical decision.
Yeah,
in
for
process
sure.
for sure. No, and I was really fortunate to be able to. I did a little Southeast swing.
I remember we had drinks one night.
Yep. We got to catch up, and I got to watch Earl Grant coach.
Yeah.
A practice. And Charleston's one of my favorite cities. One of my favorite cities in America. So I hope they keep producing players, so I have an extra reason to go down there. But yeah, that's a great program, man.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. My other guy is Kevon Harris out of Stephen F. Austin.
Okay.
He's an Atlanta guy, which I didn't see him in high school at all. But what I like about him, he's 6'5", like really big and strong. He shot over 40% from three this year. But I think his immediate NBA skill set is he's like a elite. I think he's an elite defender, and he has like violent hands. Is probably the best way I could describe him. Like he swipes at the ball, and like if he gets anywhere near, he's gonna get the ball. Or like if he fouls you, like you're gonna be worried about him hitting you another time because he's like so physically like just imposing almost, and not like, not obviously like in a 6'8", 6'9" kind of, but just like as a guard, he's just like he's jacked almost. But the ability to shoot the ball well. He was his team's best player this year, so he had the ball in his hands a lot. So I think those kind of things help when guys kind of transition to the next level. Another one of my things I think that helps a lot, these guys that go to smaller schools, is I think they've been in so many roles over the course of their 4 years in college that when they get to the pro level, they're almost ready just to kind of do whatever's asked of them. So, first couple of years, you're probably playing, you're getting minutes sparingly, you're probably backing up seniors. Maybe your second or third year, depending on where you are, you kind of get into a more focal point of offense. And then by your senior year, you're the guy. And like now you have a team that depends on you that you have to carry. And I think those kind of, those lessons over the course of a 4-year period prepares you for, like, in theory, to be a role player in the league for a long time, because you're not coming in expecting to be given anything. So you're going to work hard for minutes. You're going to work hard to get on the floor. And I think those kind of things translate to like winning basketball, so to speak. And I think like his ability, like I said, to defend and rebound well. He's a really good passer. Again, not elite by any stretch, but same kind of deal as Grant, just kind of knows what kind of passes to make. He was actually really good in pick and roll, surprisingly. When I went back and looked at his numbers in pick and roll, he was actually pretty good in pick and roll. I just think that overall, the ability to kind of like just transition from stage to stage to stage makes him that more ready to like contribute on a team. And even in a lesser role, like a guy who sat the bench before, is almost okay, comfortable sitting the bench because maybe he knows that he'll get a shot eventually, as opposed to a guy who's never set the bench and now they're like what the crap, what's going on? Like, what am I not doing right? And then, like we talked about earlier, confidence getting shot. I don't think a kid like him, his confidence gets shot if he doesn't play right away.
Right.
And I think that will be a huge, benefit to a team, even if it's in a lesser role. He'll probably get some time in the G League, which is fine. And I think both those guys may get time in the G League actually, but just getting time in the G League and getting game experience, I think it just kind of benefits overall. So,
What are Harris's specs? Do you know, like his wingspan?
let's see if I have that. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see if I can find it.
He finished up at DME Academy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. He went to.
So ESPN has him at 6'6", 216.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah.
And he shot 40.
He shot
41.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so this is the crazy thing. So I went back and looked at his shots, right? His misses were really bad. Like either he was rushing them, he was pulling back his foul. There's something that he would drip. When he missed, it was a bad miss, right? So you think about it, like let's say like every shot is kind of the same. Like he shoots all the shots consistently. It might go up, like he may actually be able to improve. Because we know typically college stats drop off when you get to the NBA. So let's say he kind of like hones in on like doing like getting like constant like proper mechanics and repetition. Well, he may be able to stay at that 41% level just because he's
right.
probably going to get open shots.
Well, its usage is going to go way down.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, he probably won't be shooting many contested shots.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
It looks like, and I've never seen him, so it looks like he's never missed a game in college either.
Nope. So he's durable. He's got a lot of games under his belt.
Okay. Well, I heard it here first.
Yeah. So he's probably my favorite guy in the draft. Just because he's kind of he's that underdog kind of guy. So those are the kind of kids I root for. So he probably won't get drafted, but I think he gets on a team and plays, like right away. Maybe not in a role in any stretch of imagination, but just being on a team and getting spare minutes here and there. And then he'll probably kill in the G League kind of stuff, to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. But I don't have his wingspan on my list either, actually. So I don't think I could find it. So.
Okay.
But yeah. So those are my back of the draft guys. And and then my international guys are I had Killian Hayes on my list as well, so I won't go into depth on Killian. I saw Killian last year at the Basketball Outboarders event in Charlotte. And so so that was my first time seeing him, and I've kind of caught a few games here and there on like EuroLeague, not EuroLeague. He's playing in Russia now, so saw him play a couple of games online, and he's a lefty, kind of like all those we lefties typically kind of keep guys off balance in the first place. He's accustomed to playing in the pick and roll, so I think he kind of like fits NBA American style basketball right away. I think his dad's. I think he was born in Florida. I think his dad's from Florida, if I'm not mistaken, too. So he's probably kind of just got that overall, just the American style. And I think he comes over often enough to kind of like get American training here and there, that kind of stuff. So
definitely Americanized.
Yeah. So I think he'll have an easy transition to being here. So I won't go into detail. I like Killian a lot. We both like Killian a lot. And then I like Denny, and I don't know how to pronounce Denny's last name.
Avdia,
yeah, from Israel. I saw him also at the same Basketball Outboarders event. And Denny, he's listed as like a small forward, power forward, but he's kind of like a point forward to me. I think he handles the ball really well. I think he's kind of always kind of had the ball in his hands, at least from what I've seen, as like a primary ball handler. So he could probably be like a small forward who handles the ball a lot. But I think he plays. He's a elite passer. I think he's a great passer for his size and his skill set. I think the shot still needs some work. And I think his size at 6'9", and I think he kind of fits the game now as well, because everyone has to be multidimensional. And so being big and strong and having the ability to kind of to handle and create and get teammates involved, I think that kind of bodes well for him at this level. I think his game's kind of made for this kind of style of play,
Right.
On a regular basis. I think with more space in the NBA now, I think he has more room to operate than, especially in Europe, and playing in the Euro League in particular. So I think there's just going to be more space on the court to just kind of create opportunities for other people. So I feel like he'll do well when he comes over.
How do you compare him to Luka?
I wouldn't.
Small forward size, who's
Yeah.
gonna handle the ball and make plays.
Yeah, I think
Is that where the comparison stops?
Yes, I think Luka was something special. So I think, but I think being a teenager, playing in the Euro League and starting and contributing on a really good team, I think that's valuable, because you're literally playing in the second best league in the world. In my eyes, and probably I think everyone who knows basketball, that's probably the second best league in the world.
Yeah.
And being a starter on a team that is always competing for Euro Cups, or just being competitive in that league on a regular basis, I think that he has the tools necessary to kind of be successful. And I think the comparisons to Luka are he's a big guard that probably has two shooting guard or small forward size, but it's more of a point guard kind of skill set. I think that's the major comparison to Luka. But I think that's probably where it stops, I think, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. But a lottery talent nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think all these guys are Killian, Denny, and Leandro are. I think Leandro's got kind of middle of the road in the first round. Like got him around 15 to 18 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's mid to late. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but as far
as mocks, yeah.
Yeah, so I think all these guys have the ability, and again, depending on situation and who likes them the most, could easily go higher or lower, just depending on who's picking and what they're looking for.
Yep.
So those are like the guys that I like, and again, these are all small samples because I haven't watched a ton of college basketball this year either. Only recently did I start kind of. I was getting prepared to kind of hit tournaments, conference tournaments, and go see guys that I had on my list for the sake of just kind of like knowing who's going to be available, who's going to be around. But just didn't give it that much attention. As a novice kind of fan kind of thing, you sit and watch a game here or there, but diving deep, later, these are the guys that I kind of like overall.
Right. I'm super thankful for how just my schedule wound up. I mean, I was in Vegas for 7 straight days at tournaments before everything shut down. So just getting that final little taste.
Yeah. I'm jealous. I was, when you told me you were going, I was like, man, I wish I could go. It's just one of those things you just wish you could kind of be there to kind of, especially with so many tournaments going on at the same time. I mean, it's just.
We're constantly, you and I are the same. We're constantly looking for good bang for buck opportunities.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, another one I know is like Tarkanian Classic. Right. With like 2-3 events plus little one-offs going on at the same time.
Yep.
It's just too good not to go to.
Yeah.
With Peach Jam weekend being the ultimate.
Right.
Right. There's just so much going on.
Yeah. Last year, like we were both kind of around last year for that, and it was just so like. There's so much basketball in like a small area of space, so to speak. And it's just like, I can go over here to watch this game, or I can go over here to watch this game. I'm going to go over here for a day. Cause that's what we pretty much did that. Like you're at Peach Jam. Then you came to Atlanta and we did the NBA Academies thing. It was it was fun, just being able to kind of bounce around to different stuff and just kind of see everybody.
It's like Disneyland, man. You just have to, for me, I just have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of operate.
Yep.
I've got my fingers crossed. I still have my hotels booked for all this stuff in June and July. I've been canceling my my reservations in 1 month segments. Like all the
Gotcha.
April stuff is canceled.
Yeah.
All the May stuff I've already had canceled.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
I still got like, my St. Louis trip still on the docket, and
Gotcha.
my Atlanta trip's on the docket, but I don't know if we're going to be able to make it out, man. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's all going to be canceled.
I guess it's just wishful thinking. I feel bad more so for like the kids that like this was like, they felt like this was their summer to kind of like make a name or like kind of explode. And there were a couple of kids I knew that I felt like would probably do it. And so you kind of feel bad. Or even like the unsigned seniors that were going to like give this AAU season like their effort, their last stitch effort to kind of get like a major scholarship before they maybe transition to a different like idea of what their next stage of basketball would be. So you kind of feel for those guys because now you're just not given the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So me being a mediocre basketball player at best, you kind of root for those guys that just who maybe have been overlooked or under scouted or undervalued to like just kind of catch an eye of somebody at some point and then just take off. So
on the flip, I guarantee there's going to be at least one or two narratives, a year or two from now or 3 years from now where kind of the best the guy, some of these 2020 kids, they're maybe best offer opportunity at the time is going to be from a low major or mid major, and they're going to be like on the radar, and it's like, how this player wind up at this school? It's like, well, we didn't get to evaluate that last or I guess not 2020 but probably 2021, right? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like for grassroots basketball, the thing is, when I first started this, I didn't like high school basketball or grassroots basketball a lot because a lot of times you just, you're here to see a kid who's like really good, but then there's no one to like compare him to on the court, right? And so what I didn't know personally, because I hadn't been around it in years since I played AAU, was that like there are a lot of events where like they're like loaded events where just teams are like really good on all spectrums. And so what you and I typically try to do is try to get to these events where we can see multiple people at once, and just hope that like EY, in case in point, EYBL sessions, like where like
gotta be there.
Yeah, Friday to Sunday, it's worth your time and money to be in that building because every court's got somebody on it. And even if it's somebody who isn't high major, it's still somebody you may want to watch because you may see some physical attributes that a kid has that doesn't translate now to this level because for whatever reason. But I could see him probably being an NBA player because he's 6'6" with long arms and she shoots it well right now. So then you say, well, can you see what that kid will be like in 4 years? Like what is he going to, if he works hard and develops, does he become a prospect? Like those are the kids that are kind of cool to watch, like, because maybe they're not on the radar, so to speak, to start, but they kind of blossom. And then you're like, well, he was the same size at 17 that he is now at 22. So what happened? He got better over the course of time. And now those things are like almost, it's like NBA attributes that weren't valuable in high school, or weren't as valuable in high school because he didn't do X, Y, or Z well. But now
it's a fun challenge
to
discover that. And you've got to show up and be present and be locked in order to kind of find those little hidden gems, so to speak. So I'm with you. I mean, I totally agree.
Yep. So it's disheartening that we're not doing it now, but it's exciting to know that, if things get well, we can probably get out before the season ends, hopefully. So,
fingers crossed.
Yep, indeed. So what's on the agenda for you guys for the rest of the day?
Man, probably just getting back on the database and kind of chipping away a little bit and cross-referencing some stuff and just trying to continue to fill profiles out and add content. We're working on some we're kind of making a shift with our Q&A series now. Whenever possible, we've been trying to videotape them on Skype. And so doing some edits with those to be able to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and getting some branding on there and stuff like that. So just kind of in the lab, man. And
Yeah,
then whatever's on the honey-do list, of course.
indeed.
Yeah,
you gotta do the honeydew list for sure. Gotta do the honeydew
no
list for
doubt. You guys have plans for Easter?
sure. No. This is ironic. So I never like going to church on Easter
Uh-huh.
because at least so I don't want this to sound like everybody and their mama in Black culture goes to church on Easter, and so like
You're trying to be hipster.
yeah, and I just don't like I just don't want to. I've never like when I was a kid, like you're going to church every Sunday, and then now all of a sudden church is packed and you don't have a seat, kind of stuff, because a lot of people this is their one time to go to church is on Easter, and so
Yeah.
can't no knock or anything, but it's just one of those things. When I became an adult, I just decided that like I know how I feel and what and stuff, so I'm okay not going to church that day because I understand, what's going on, and I'll do my thing at home. So this won't be anything different. We'll probably, I'll probably cook something, and just kind of like relax and chill out. And relaxing for me is probably the same thing as you get on a database and do some work. So
You'll probably still be wearing some pastels though.
you know what? I might throw some Sunday best just because just to look nice.
What I want to know, what I want to know is how is your like beard and head looking lined up? I'm looking like Wolfman Jack here, 25 days in, and
Well,
I'm trying to grow a man bun.
oh really?
I mean, it's probably going to happen whether I like it or not.
Yeah. Well, I cut my own hair.
Okay.
So I cut my own hair. So I have a friend of mine, Tasha Humphrey. She played basketball at UGA. She's All American at UGA. Me and her like worked together, so we became really good friends. And so she called me the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm just getting in cutting my hair." And she's like, "You've been doing that for a while." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You're prepared for this, aren't you?" I was like, "I'm prepared." So I've got clippers, I've got edgers, I've got a straight razor, and so the funny thing, Matt, is like 3 days ago, because I didn't care, so I was like, you know what? I don't care. I was walking around with a do-rag on. I've had do-rag on for like 2 weeks straight. And so just straight, no nothing. The beard was looking, I'm still aspirational. You have the beard that I aspire to have. And so,
oh, come on, man.
So for me, I've still got spots and patches everywhere, but it's the thing is I don't have anywhere to go, so no one has to see me. So there's no reason to like try to keep it up. So this is like the thickest it's probably been in a while. And so with another month to go at least of not having to go outside and see people, maybe I can get
there.
Yeah, I might get there. I might get there. Maybe I can do something to get this little spot to fill in. But this is like I'm prepared to say the least. I try to keep myself looking nice, so I don't for me I feel at some point I can be scraggly for a while, but it won't. I think it was just I looked at myself, I was like, I gotta cut my hair, and it was.
Yeah, that's not your MO. Yeah.
Yeah, so I try to but I've been in sweats like every day. I did laundry yesterday, and man, I have like a pants and hoodies. I have a bunch, so I probably have like 6 of them. All of them are the dirty clothes with like other stuff. I'm like, dang, I wore all these things, but the things like you're wearing them for like days at a time because there's nothing to do, so you just put it on again the next day. And then, maybe you go outside and you're like, okay, now I got to switch clothes because I've been outside and I need to like, get rid of the stuff. So you just throw another one on and just rock it for a few more days and do the same thing.
You just described my last month too.
Yeah. So on the other side, this is fun though. I don't, like just not having to like care about like what I look like because no one's going to see me. So it's fine. I like to
except all the viewers they're going to be watching this thing. that you didn't tell me we were recording.
I'm sorry. I should
wear my PJs.
Hey, I have you know what? I got on sweats and a t-shirt. So we look fine. This is what we look like. This is quarantine life. This is quarantine life.
No doubt. No doubt. It's very authentic.
Very, and so I appreciate you for jumping on, and I mean for me again this is just fun to just talk to my friend about basketball and
no question
and just hear insightful stuff that maybe I'm not thinking about, or again having someone that is in a similar situation as me is for me it's bro, I promise you like this is it's for me when you and I met and got a chance to talk, for me, it was just an ideal situation because literally it feels it's lonely most of the time for me, and because no one gets it almost. And so to find someone who gets it and then like who knows basketball and can just, has been around, the game and at every level, it's just, dude, it's a lot for me. So I appreciate you, seriously, wholeheartedly. I appreciate you for real, seriously. So
I echo that, man. Like, so just keep, iron sharpens iron. So let's keep at it.
Sure stuff. Yeah, for sure.
You can follow Matt on Instagram and Twitter at _Proinsight. And you can follow me at BTL Hoops on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for listening and watching this first edition of Attacking the Paint. Be on the lookout for my next episode with basketball training extraordinaire, Mark Edwards. Until next time, we'll see you in the paint.